Mr. President, this is the most heartbreaking packet of letters I have ever received in my entire life. There's words in here like begging and pleading and no more normalcy. My 13-year-old still sleeps in my bed. My kids run when they hear nails being pounded into the roof, getting repaired next door. They can't hear basketballs bouncing or a car backfiring. My 6-year-old doesn't even have the words to tell me how scared she is. Trauma therapy, family therapy, night lights, no lights off. What is this world that we are creating for children? Mr. President, I was 8 years old when the assault weapons ban went into effect in this country. And I had the distinct privilege of being all the rest of my school years from 8 to 18 with an assault weapons ban in this country. Your risk of dying in a mass shooting from the time I was 8 to 18 was 70% lower than it is today. When I was a child, we used to learn the 3-word phrase, recycle, reduce, reuse. Now kids learn run, hide, fight. Children have the right to stay alive, and we need to do something. If those children were sitting at these desks and had the privilege and power of pressing one of these 2 buttons today, they would press green. Their parents would press green. But they're not sitting here, we are. We have the awesome privilege and power to represent this great state. And you have 6-year-olds and 13-year-olds and 9-year-olds begging you, begging us to do something. Mr. President, in my home, there is something that lives very large right now. I have a 4-year-old, and during Emergency Preparedness Week, she heard the sirens go off for the first time. We have been talking about those sirens since Emergency Preparedness Week. For hours that first week, it was every night for 2 hours. Are the sirens going to go off? What happens when the sirens go off? Why did the sirens go off? Those are tornado sirens. Nothing happened to my daughter. She just heard a loud sound. I cannot imagine how 300 sets of parents have to talk to their kids about this world. They were sitting in church, at school, the literal 2 safest places you could possibly be, or should possibly be. I think about the tornado siren conversation that I have with my daughter, and I think about those parents every night. I have a picture of the 9-year-old who wrote this letter in our packet and her brother in my office. I think of Harper and Fletcher every day. We pray for them in my church every Sunday. We can't do nothing. Mr. President, there are a lot of things that connect moms, kind of regardless of where you live in this world. Toddlers are feral. Newborns are unpredictable. Teenagers are mouthy. That's true, pretty much across the world. There is not one thing about what the Annunciation mothers experienced that relates to any other thing a mother experiences in this world. Gun violence is a uniquely American problem. Every other country on this planet has figured out how to not have their kids get shot in school. Last year, 89 kids died from gun violence in South Africa. 0 in Japan, 500 alone in the state of Texas. That's 1 state out of 50 in this country. We know what works. We know what saves lives. It's possible, Mr. President, I'm standing here today because I had the privilege of going to school during an assault weapons ban. We owe it to the children, and we owe it to their parents. We're not standing here performatively. I want everyone to look in this packet of letters and tell me what is performative about responding to a 9-year-old or a 5th grader or a 13-year-old is performative. Or saying that we're doing this to scare people. I wonder how the 300 students at Annunciation would feel if they heard that. I think they're pretty scared. They have every right to be scared. 116 bullets in 2 minutes went through their church windows, through their clothing, through their friends' bodies, through the church pews. That's scary. Mr. President, 1 year ago, I was in the library in my community, and a woman came up to me and she said, "You saved my life." I'd never met her before. And I said, "Great. How?" And she said, "The 24-hour waiting period that you passed in 2023. I was feeling suicidal. I went to go buy a gun and I had to wait. And I'm alive today because of it." Gun regulations save lives. Laws save lives. If there is even one child that lives in this state that doesn't die because of gun violence, it is worth doing this today. And to the parents and the advocates who have worked tirelessly, of course, over the last 8 months, but for years, to make Minnesota safer, a safer place to live, to grow, to go to school or church or the synagogue or the mosque, to go to the grocery store, to the movie theater, drive. Thank you. Senator Port said that this is very controversial in this chamber. It is. It's partisan here, but it is not partisan in our communities. This is the only room in Minnesota where what we are passing today is partisan. Our state and our communities are begging for us to do something, to move our feet. And today I'm proud to vote green to do so. Thank you, Mr. President.